Welcome to the Brilliantly Sexy show with Devina Kaur. Our intention is to inspire, awaken and create global leaders using the Sexy Brilliant philosophy. Discover sacred wisdom and the benefits of self-leadership with your host, author of Too Fat, Too Loud, Too Ambitious, and founder of Sexy Brilliant Global Revolution, Devina Kaur.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Brilliantly Sexy show with Devina Kaur. And today it is my honor and my pleasure to welcome Amanda McLeod all the way from Australia, Queensland in Australia. And Amanda is a musician as well as a Reiki practitioner, a holistic healer, author, astrologer, and an EFT tapping coach. And today she is going to be talking about a little bit about the astrology for the month of February. So please, everybody, put your hands together and please welcome Amanda from Australia. Amanda, welcome and thank you so much for joining us. So go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor and I'm so excited.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you for accepting my my invitation at a very short notice, and I really appreciate that. So Amanda, before we go into the astrology, I want to ask you a little bit about yourself and how long have you been reading natal charts for and doing astrology for?
Okay, I actually got my first and second degrees in astrology in about the mid-90s. I studied it for about 4 years and I got a master's degree in esoteric psychology and astrology.
Wow.
And so I've used it on and off. I've always been interested in astrology ever since I was a child. My mother had all the Linda Goodman star sign, sun sign, love sign books. And so I'd already had quite a extensive knowledge of the zodiac signs and astrology and things like that since I was quite little. But I studied it formally in the mid-90s for about 4 or 5 years. Wow. And actually it was 6 years all up, yeah. And then I just mainly used it for myself and friends and family. And I sort of, like we often tend to do when work and life and family and other things come in and out, your focus goes away. And but I've recently sort of picked it up again and decided to actually, put it to practical use again to help people.
So thank you so much for joining us, Amanda. And we're so grateful. So I know that in the month of February, we've got 7 planets in the sign of Aquarius. Is that true?
Yes.
Did I read something wrong? Go ahead.
Well, actually, there's not 7 planets, but there is quite a lot of energy. We've had the great conjunction with Saturn and Jupiter.
Which was back in the month of, which started on the 21st of December?
December, yes. And they'll be pretty much conjunct until I think it's later in March. I think I've written it down somewhere.
No problem.
Where is it? I had it written down somewhere.
While
I'll come across it.
That's okay. While you're looking for your notes, I'm going to just say hi to everybody who's here. Thank you so much for joining us. There's Brenda, the mountain girl. There is Felix, Samantha. My goodness, so many people. So everybody's on YouTube and we are streaming live on Facebook as well as on Twitter. So do say hi so we can give you guys shout out on camera. And of course, if you guys have questions, please don't hesitate to ask Amanda as well. So Amanda, tell us what's going on.
It.
Good.
Okay, right. The great conjunction that started with Jupiter and Saturn in December last year actually ends on the 20th of Feb this year because Jupiter starts to move away. Now, there will be a lot of planets in Aquarius throughout the month because planets like the moon and Mercury tend to move quite fast, the moon particularly. So it does about 2.5 days in each sign. At the moment, it's in Virgo. But yeah, so there is still that great conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn. Now, currently the Sun is in Aquarius as well. So the Sun is sitting right next to conjunct Jupiter and Saturn. So the Sun is all about will. It's our strengths, it's our power, it's how we shine, how we show ourselves to the world. It's our personality, our ego. So collectively, having that conjunction with with Jupiter and Saturn is going to give that even more power, having them all in the sign of Aquarius, of humanitarianism. It's breaking free from old patterns, even though Saturn is there, but Saturn is in Aquarius, and it co-rules in Aquarius. So with Uranus also rules Aquarius, but Saturn was the original ruler before Uranus was discovered. So it is breaking down paradigms, breaking down social structures, which we know has been happening, but it's ramping right up at the moment with the Sun being there as well. And it's allowing us to be able to shine in new areas and innovations, to be able to discover new things, things to do with new ways of exuding power, or there'll be maybe some discoveries about new energies coming through, rather than relying on old power systems and the old power grid. There'll be new ways of running things. So that's all coming to the fore as well. Now there is a square. The Sun is square Uranus at the moment.
Can I ask you what does it mean when a planet is square? Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, the squares are the blocks, so they're the 90 degrees. So if a planet is 90 degrees away from another planet, they're making a square which forms like a blocked energy that needs to be released. It can create frustration. The trines are more easy flowing energy. So the trines are like when you've got planets that are in the same, like you've got the water signs, the air signs, the fire signs, and earth signs. So the three modes, or three of each of those would make trines, if you know what I mean. It's sort of, it's hard to describe just without visuals.
Yeah. Let me say this. So let's say there is a planet in Virgo, which is an earth sign. There's another planet which is in Leo, which is a fire sign, and then there is another planet in Cancer, which is a water sign. Is that a trine?
No, not well. It depends. It actually depends the degrees, because there's usually about a 6 to 8 degree orb. So if the fire sign would be at the end of its, towards the end of the 30 degrees in that particular sign, it may make a trine to one of the others. But generally speaking, if you've got, say, Capricorn, something in Capricorn, something in, say, Virgo, and something in Taurus, they would generally be making a trine. But again, it's pretty generalized because it depends what degrees in the chart they actually sit. Yeah. So this is
obviously not like, there's so much to go into astrology that, if the audience finds themselves a little bit lost, hang in there. We're going to simplify it soon. Okay. Amanda's here. So go ahead, Amanda.
Yeah. Yeah. So getting back anyway to February. So we've got the Sun square Uranus at the moment. Uranus is actually sitting in Taurus. So there could be a lot of frustrations and blocked energy with regard, like Taurus is about resources. It's about values. So it's wanting us to break away and to dissolve the blocks that we have with our value system. if we've got low self-esteem, if we've got low values, if we've got lack consciousness when it comes to being able to create our own resources and to be able to do things in the world financially or monetarily, it's really asking us to break any blocks or go into some meditation or some deep cycle, to go down into the subconscious and start breaking away from the blocks and the binds that have held us in the past. But that energy is not around for very long because we've, as I say, we've got, with the Aquarian energy, there's so many new things coming into into the matrix now. The old matrix and paradigms are breaking down. So there's a lot more potential for people to be able to do things that they really love and show their own unique ways of doing things, and they will be able to, there'll be still people that want to do the 9 to 5, but there's a lot more opportunities now for people to do things, creative energies, things that are outside the box, things that are unique and unorthodox, and things that we never would have thought even 5-10 years ago we're able to actually start doing now and making money out of it. And not money for money's sake or for materialism, but to give us the lifestyle and to free us up and to be able to travel and to share our gifts and talents with the world and our uniqueness with the world, because Aquarius is also about being unique. But also we mustn't.
And Aquarius is the energy, like the sign of humanitarian work. I mean, even the symbol of Aquarius. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that, Amanda. What does the symbol of Aquarius mean? The water. Is it the water that's pouring down?
Yes. Well, even though it's an air sign, the actual the glyph looks like water, because if you actually look at Aquarius, it's the man pouring out of a vessel water, and it's the waters of knowledge. So it is an air sign, but the waters of knowledge are coming through the astrological sign of Aquarius. So it's about higher mindedness, and it's about humanitarian and groups, world service, people that are there to serve the world and humanity and mankind through knowledge and higher learning and higher dissemination, because the air signs are all about the mind and how we conceptualize and how we think and how we communicate too. So it's all about communication, so sharing and spreading knowledge and wisdom with people. So so that seems to be amping up as well. But we mustn't forget that midway through February, on the 19th, the sun actually goes into Pisces. So the energies then will transmute more into the compassion, the love, the creativity, all that sort of thing.
What an important reminder. Thank you, Maria.
Yep, no worries. And I wanted to touch on the moon as well. The moon currently at the moment is in Virgo, but it will actually be going into Libra. I think it's tomorrow, because it only spends about 2.5 days in each sign. So it goes into Libra tomorrow on the 2nd of February. So that's about balancing our emotions and also about trying to find what's the word, like justice, and if you're wanting to make amends for anything, like really coming into alignment and balance and really stepping up to the plate as far as really shedding and letting go of any negative things that you might feel you've been unjustly dealt with, or you've unjustly dealt with other people, or even within yourself with your own inner mind speak and how you speak to yourself. It's about again, it's another air sign, so it's about getting into the higher mind and bringing about justice. And it's also ruled by Venus, so it's about finding beauty in everything and about creativity as well. So while the moon is in the sign of Libra for about 2.5 days, it's really good to do that, to do creative things and to really find that inner balance and inner peace with the emotions, and to try and stop the toing and froing, which has been going on a lot, I know, with what's going on with the current world events. A lot of people have just been sinking to the depths of despair 1 minute, and then, you know, they're rising up to the excitement of all the new things that are coming to the fore, and that, you know, going forward, we're going to be a lot freer, and society as a whole is going to be able to, you know, raise the vibration. Humanity is awakening. But at the moment, there's been a lot of toing and froing with our emotions. So we're really needing to, while it's in the sign of Libra, it's all about trying to bring that balance back. And there's a new moon on Friday, the 12th of Feb, and that's all about new beginnings. So between now and the 12th, it would be a good idea to start spring cleaning, finishing up with any projects that we've started, and finalising things, and getting ready to start planting some seeds in the new moon, because the new moon is all about planting the seeds, starting new projects, and bringing in new ideas and things like that. So, but before you can do that, you have to clear space for that. So it could be physical. It might be, you know, actually getting in and doing a big spring clean in the house. And it also means internally as well, like spring cleaning your mind, which again comes back to taking some time for yourself, going within, meditating, and getting rid of old thought patterns and old habits, and trying to replace them with some new self-speak, some more positive affirmations and things like that. So what else did I want to talk about? Venus is in Capricorn, but it also goes into Aquarius tomorrow on the 2nd. So Venus is about love, romance. It's also about our values and our resources.
Okay, hold on. Let's talk a little bit more about
traditionally.
Amanda, I want to know a little bit more about romance. So what does that mean when it's shifting from Capricorn to Aquarius? And what energy does that mean? Does that mean more love, more sex, more self-dating? It's almost Valentine's Day. I want to know about this.
Okay, well, when it was in Capricorn, it was probably quite restricted, and going into the sign of Aquarius, it's breaking free. So it means a lot more freedom within relationships. So people that have felt restricted before might find that things free up a little bit. So if you've had problems in a relationship, you might find that coming into the Aquarian energy, you will be freer to be able to truly be yourself and to express yourself individually how you want to. And you might find too that if you're in a relationship that's quite stifling, those relationships might fall by the wayside. And it's not necessarily always about romantic relationships. It can also be partnerships in business, or connections with friends. And we're finding that now anyway, that there's a big sorting the wheat from the chaff, and a lot of people that have had, you know, long life friends or relationships, if they're not congruent with where the person is now, they're just naturally dissolving and falling by the wayside. And we're finding our soul family now. We're connecting with people that we're really wanting to move forward with on the collective consciousness. But getting back to the romantic, you know, one-on-one relationship side of it, coming into Aquarius, it does give you the ability to be able to work with your partner, but bringing both of your individual personalities and your unique talents together, and to help your partner to see things that may have been hidden before. So things are actually going to come out more with the Aquarian energy there.
So that Amanda, if I can say something here, so that means that for people who are, you know, in the truth community, there's people who are not seeing eye to eye, and I personally know of relationships that are kind of drifting apart because there's so much difference. So maybe can you suggest something for that? Like, It means that things will calm down. There's going to be more open communication. Perhaps a little bit of a touch on that, Amanda.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think so. I think, and I think it's because of what's happened since the change of administration and things like that, and people that have followed that line. I have to be very careful how I word stuff, but people that have followed a certain narrative for so long, even within the truth community, and when things don't turn out how we expect them to, because Aquarius is all about the unexpected. It's about shocking. It's electric. It's shocking. It's quite sudden change. Definitely unorthodox, outside the box. So it's all about the unexpected. And if people, even in the truth community, aren't sort of sitting with the unexpected, happy to sit with the unexpected, they may find themselves butting heads because they have been on a certain narrative and a certain road for so long. And that's where it's going to sort the wheat from the chaff, because that's where I think the true truthers are the ones that go wherever the truth takes them, no matter what. Whereas a lot of people that have been so-called truthers, they will still have that dogmatic approach, whereas they've studied and they know that this is the road, this is the path, this is the line that we need to go down. And then when we get thrown off that path, they still try and cling to it. So, but I think we're going to be left with no choice. I think because so much is going to come out, and there's going to be so much dissemination of information and a big revealing. I mean, we are in the time of relations, and we are in biblical times. So it's going to shock a lot of people, even people that are in the truth community. There's going to be a lot of shock waves running throughout humanity.
Wow.
But I do think it will settle down. I can't necessarily say it'll settle down throughout the month of February, but I've actually got a feeling that come March, and for some reason the 4th of March keeps coming to me, and I keep thinking March 4th is where humanity marches forth. So we're no longer stuck. We're going to be marching forth, onward and upward from the 4th of March. So I hope that answered your question a little bit there.
Yeah,
but yeah,
because I've been somehow March 3rd comes to me, and March 3rd for me is March 4th for you. So that's an interesting timeline to keep in mind. But also, when you were talking about the Aquarius and the thought that I'm single, so the thought that came to me was, would it be fun to meet an Aquarius man? and I want to know from everybody who's watching us.
Yes.
What sun sign are you? And if you are in a relationship, what's your partner sign? And of course, if you are not in a relationship, I want to know, who do you think would be your ideal partner? So please let me know and please let us know in the comments. And then Amanda's going to come back to this point and discuss with us. And of course, we are getting a lot of questions. So Amanda, once you finish, we will go to the questions. So please go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So getting back to the Venus Aquarian energy. So as I say, it's about thinking outside of the box, new ways of obtaining resources and new relationships and new humanitarian groups and things like that. Now, with regards to the other signs, the other air signs are Gemini and Libra. So for the Geminis and Libras out there, with Venus in Aquarius, there's going to be a lot of flowing energy with regards to love and resources, maybe financial. You might find that more money comes in, or you find it's easier to make money. And also with regards to your values and your self-worth, you're going to have a lot more confidence to be able to do things that before you felt maybe that you were a little blocked with. With Leo, because Leo is the opposite star sign to Aquarius, so they may find it a little difficult at first. They may have this toing and froing and swinging to extremes, and they need to find a balance. So for the Leos out there, if you're finding at the moment you're a bit up and down, it will be that Venus Aquarius energy. So you're just needing to go within and just try and find a balance when it comes to self-worth and also your finances, your resources, and your love, interests, and relationships. It's all about bringing balance. And then
So,
with the fire
Amanda,
signs.
I have a question, Amanda. What do you have
Yep.
any advice for people who are dating Leos? Because that's a handful in itself, right?
Leos are, yeah. Leos are absolutely so creative, so dramatic, but they're like children. So if you treat them, I mean, I'm not saying treat them like children, but if you're more childlike and you let your little inner child out, you will have a lot better time with a Leo, because they're so in the moment. They're like so childlike and spontaneous in the moment. They love creation, creativity, fun. They love doing fun things, and they are very sensitive, even though sometimes they can come across as quite egotistical. And of course, the sun is the natural ruler of Leo, so they really like to shine and they really like to stand out and be the center of attention. So if you're happy to just allow them to do that, and don't take it as a slight, or don't see it as them being overly boastful. That's just how they want to express themselves. So just maybe step back a little and allow them to shine. But they're quite sensitive underneath, so you have to be a little careful about how you, if you do want to dim that little light a little bit, you have to be careful how to do it, because they can be very, very sensitive. But they're absolutely beautiful, beautiful people, and they're just so much fun. So,
Thank you, Amanda.
yeah, getting back to the Venus Aquarius with that okay. So getting back to the other star signs with regards to the Venus in Aquarius. So we've touched on the other air signs as easy flowing energy. Leo being the opposite would have that swinging to extremes at the moment, so having to find balance. The fire signs, the fires to the air sign of Aquarius, making what's called a sextile aspect, which is a very easy-going feel about it. It's easy flowing, a bit like flowing energy. And what else have we got? So the water signs. So you've got Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So for the Cancerians and the Scorpions and the Pisceans out there, while we've got Venus in Aquarius, we're needing to, because there's a block there, so we're needing to release deep psychological blocks with regards to our value systems. So if there is a lack of confidence, if we are feeling undervalued, or if we are having issues with our own self-esteem or our own self-worth, it's the water signs at the moment are needing to within and to start dissolving those blocks. And also the earth signs as well, they're needing to let go of materialism. Yes, it's, as I said before, it's good to get more money to be able to do things, but they have to detach from the need to make money for money's sake, because the earth signs of Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn are very materialist driven. They're quite they want acquisition of nice things and possessions and money, and especially about status. Capricorns tend to they work very hard for their money, and they find that their self-worth is tied in with their status of where they sit in the social circles, and with how much money they've got, or how many nice things they've got. So all the earth signs are at this time needing to let go of that materialism for materialism's sake. And I'm not saying it's not good, as I say, to create more money, but it's just how you look at money. Is just a currency, and it's an energy, and it's a flow. But if you try and hang on to it, it's like trying to hang on to water, and the more you squeeze, it's just going to slip through your hands. You just have to and allow the waters to flow over your hand, and you can scoop up water and you can drink it, and you can drink as much as your hands can allow you to bring up to your mouth. But if you try and squeeze it, you're going to lose it. So it's about loosening up with regards to money and resources with the earth signs.
Oh, that's so beautifully said. My daughter's a Virgo.
Sorry, did you have a question?
I said that's so beautifully said. And then I said that my daughter is a Virgo. And so it's interesting to have her as to have her, she's, like you said, she needs to loosen up. But that's my experience as a mother, and I'm a Scorpio, so
yes,
with Leo moon. So it's a bit much. We have a lot of friendly clashes.
Yeah, well, you'd have very
Go ahead, Amanda.
Well, you'd have very similar energies because I'm a Pisces. You'd have similar energies then because I'm a Pisces and you're a Scorpio, so we're both water signs. And I know very much a lot about Virgos because I've got Virgo moon. So my emotional body relates to Virgos. I sort of can be quite Virgo-like with my emotions. My mother was a Virgo. My maternal grandfather was a Virgo. My husband's a Virgo. My daughter-in-law is a Virgo, and my best friend I've known since I was 7 years old is a Virgo. So I think I came into this world to learn a lot about Virgos, and Virgo is the opposite to Pisces. So when they say opposites attract, but it's also because it's like a mirror, and you have the opposite. Yeah. So but generally speaking, though, the water and the earth signs tend to work well together, and the fire and air signs work well together.
That is true. And I want to know from everybody who's watching, what is your sign, so that Amanda can go and talk a little bit about your personality and even a little bit about the upcoming months. And so let me know in the comments, please. Go ahead, Amanda. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. I can just start running through the signs now if you like. As I said before we actually went live, I tend not to do forecasts in as much as generalized horoscopes month to month, because there's so much that goes into a person's natal chart. The natal chart is the chart that you were born with. So, and because everybody is so unique, the natal chart is almost like a blueprint or a thumbprint. So there's no two charts the same. So you could have 2 or 3 people that have all got the same sun, moon, and ascendant signs, but they can still be totally different because of everything else that's, there's so many other different aspects to the chart. There's all the other planets and energies and aspects that those planets and points are making to one another. There's the degrees that the planets are in, because depending on whether you've just come into a sign, you could still be very cuspal with the sign previous. And when you're coming sort of to the end of the degrees of the sign, you're approaching signs, there's the influence. Whereas someone that is traditionally in the middle would be sort of more of that one particular sign. So there is just so much. But I can touch a little bit about just the energies generally of
that would be great,
and what their strengths and weaknesses are.
Perfect.
So
Amanda, what I would do, if it's okay with you, I'm going to just pull on the screen. I know we're going to start with Aries, right?
Yep.
Okay,
right.
Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Yep. Okay. So Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So if you were looking at a zodiac wheel, traditionally Aries is on the horizon. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's always there, because it depends where you were, when you were born, what zodiac was on the horizon at the time of birth. That's how you figure out what your rising sign is. But if we're just looking at a generic wheel of the zodiac, Aries rules the first house. So it's about new beginnings. It's about birth. It's the I am sign. So it's about self-awareness. It's how we project ourselves to the world and how the world sees us. It's the first of the cardinal signs too. You've got 3 modes in astrology. You've got cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Cardinal is very direct energy. They're very goal-orientated, and they're very assertive, and just want to. They see something and they go for it. So that's what Aries are like. They initiate. They like to start lots of projects. They like to just, whatever they're wanting, they're very, very focused on it. So they're great leaders. They've got a lot of good leadership skills, but on the downside, if the energies aren't harnessed or used correctly, they can come across as quite domineering and very childish, in as much as if their own way, they can really pick up a bit of a tantrum. So,
Aries are interesting.
Two earbuds in.
So I was going to say that Aries are interesting.
Yeah, they are. They're very
bullheaded. Is that the right word? Oops. Amanda has before we got on the live show, she was telling me that she has a bit of an internet challenge. So we're gonna see if she can reconnect. But I'm here, guys. And we were doing. Amanda, you're back. Looks like she's back. Yay! We're here, Amanda.
I'm back. I don't know what happened there. I just dropped out.
That's okay.
Like I said, I've got my internet's a bit dodgy here, so I mean I am all the way over here in Australia. So anyway, what I was saying, with Aries, they're very spontaneous, very youthful. They're very good leaders, and they show great courage and initiative. They're the warriors. They're ruled by Mars, so they're definitely warrior-like. And, they're the people that you want on the front lines when you want people to stand up for you. Go and grab all your Aries friends. But the weaknesses are they can be quite aggressive if they feel that they're getting their own way. They can maybe be bullying, childish, and they sometimes have to, open them to change feet because they just blurt out whatever they're thinking without actually having filters. And people that have got, which I do, have got Mercury in Aries tend to do that as well. So that's something I have to work on because being a Piscean, I'm very touchy-feely, but I also, when it comes to how I communicate, I express my emotions regardless. And sometimes I have to pull back and think, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that in that way. So, yeah, it's all about with the Arian energy there with communicating, maybe just holding back for a minute and seeing how your communication is going to impact another person. Okay, I'll move on. We've got a lot to get through. So Taurus. Taurus is the second house, the first of the fixed signs. It's ruled by Venus. And it's all about values, as we've said earlier, values, resources, money, possessions. It's also about creativity, beauty, art, things like that. So it's a feminine sign. Aries is a masculine sign. So each of the signs is assigned one of the sexes. So, yeah, as I say, Aries was masculine, Venus is feminine. They're very down to earth. The Taurians, they're with the fixed energy, they're very steadfast. So they tend to stay in the one job or the one relationship, or they just are really, really stable and they don't like change. Whereas an Aries thrives on change and always is running off for the next adventure, a little bit like the other fire sign of Sagittarius. They're like that as well. Whereas Taurians are very, very slow to move. They have to make sure that all their I's are dotted and their T's are crossed before they really like to commit or to move on something. And they really don't do change that well. But they're very loyal. So if you're looking for loyalty, and someone that you can really rely on and depend on and that you know is going to be there for you, Taurians. On the downside, they can be stubborn. Now, when I talk about the downside, as I say, all the zodiac signs have got the positives and the negatives. So what we really need to do is, when we're looking at our star makeup, our zodiacal makeup, is we need to rise to the keep exuding our strengths, but we need to challenge our weaknesses and try and transmute them and work with the weaknesses to transform them into the positives of the sign. So I know a lot of people, they might have a particular sign. I know poor Virgos get a benign and they always go, it always seems so negative, but there's always a positive and a negative in both, in all the signs. So the weaknesses of Taurians is they can be very materialistic, as I spoke about earlier, like the other earth signs. They can be, greedy and materialistic. They can be very rigid and very stubborn. And as I said before, they can be slow to moving, which for people that like to do things quickly, it can be quite frustrating when you're living with, or you've got someone close to you that is a Taurian that seems to not want to do things. They're very, very, they plod along. They're very much the plodders. But when they do something, they're there for the long haul and they'll put their whole heart and body and soul into it. So the next one is Gemini. So Gemini is the first of the mutable. So mutable energy is very flowing. As I said before, cardinal is fixed, is very stable and steadfast and likes to put the roots down. The mutable energy is very easygoing, flowing, goes with the flow, depending on, where they find themselves. They just go with the flow. If they're with cardinal energy, they can also direct their energies towards that. Or if they're with people around them that are more fixed, they're happy to just, go along with that as well. They're quite mutable and flowing and easygoing. The downside of mutable energy is that they can often get a bit lost and not quite have a direction and not quite know, where they're needing to be, because they just sometimes feel like they're being, like a feather being blown around by the breeze. So the mutable signs are Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo and Pisces. So the mutable side of those star signs tend to make them a little bit wishy-washy at times with their energies. But the Gemini is all about it. It's the I think. Yep.
So I have a question. So the Aries rules the head, right? The Taurus rules the throat. Where does the Gemini rule? Is it the arms?
Yes.
So the Gemini is like the arms.
Gemini is the lungs.
The lungs. Thank you.
And the lungs. Yeah. Yeah, it's the twins. So it's coming down into the body. So Gemini is the twins. So it's coming down into where you've got the first duality within the body. So you've got the two arms and you've got the two lungs. Thank you. Gemini is the first of the air signs, and that's all right. And air is about mental processing. It's about the mind. And so their moniker is I think, and they're ruled by Mercury. Mercury is a planet of communication. It's it's the scribe, it's the writer, the teacher, the visionary, the messenger. So Mercury is the messenger. So they're very communicative. They're very social people. They like to have lots of friends. They like to always be flitting around socially and communicating. The downside to the Gemini energy is they do have that duality. So if you know any Geminis, they can sometimes tend to be two different people. and it's sometimes hard to figure them out because of that duality. They can also, if their energies are quite, if they're not as evolved emotionally or spiritually, they are the deceitful ones of the zodiac. Not to say that other people with other star signs or zodiacal makeups could, not be deceitful. I think we've all got the capacity to be that, and even with ourselves, sometimes it's even, we sometimes fool ourselves or try to, we're not 100% truthful with how we're needing to be in life or what we're needing to do. But the Geminis have quite a bit of difficulty with, just really seeing themselves for what they are. They tend to gloss over their downfalls and try and use their words, their quick-wittedness, their words. So that would be sort of one of the downsides to the Gemini energy. They're quite changeable and restless. It's hard to pin Geminis down. So if you're wanting someone stable, I'd steer clear of Geminis, because they're just, if you're wanting lots of fun and lots of social activities, they're the people to be around. Okay, Cancer is the next one. It's the fourth sign, and it's the first of the water signs. So Cancerians are, the fourth house is about home, family. It's ruled by the moon. So the energy is very warm, nurturing, loving, caring, motherly. It rules the breasts in the anatomical side of things. It's about feeling, nurturing, motherly, sensitive, tenacious. It's another feminine sign, whereas Gemini is a masculine sign. The weaknesses are they can be quite clingy. They're very moody because they're ruled by the moon. So they're definitely ruled by their emotions. So they can be very moody. And being the crab, if they're feeling vulnerable or out of their comfort zone, they will withdraw into their shell. So the best thing to do with Cancerians when they're like that is to just leave them alone, let them go into their shell and hide away for a while, and when they're ready, they'll come out. Then the next sign is Leo, ruling the fifth house. So I touched on this earlier. Leos are very childlike, very they just love adventure, like the other two fire signs of Aries and Sagittarius. Leo is the fixed of the fire signs, so they're a little bit more sort of stable and not wanting to sort of flit around as much as the other fire signs, but they're still quite social. They love a lot of fun. They love children. They very sports orientated or activity orientated and very creative. They're very regal. They really do like to shine. They're ruled by the sun. The downside is they can be boastful and egocentric, and also very extravagant as well. So then we move into Virgo. Virgo is I analyze. So Virgo is a earth sign, and it's a mutable mode. So Virgos are the practical ones of the zodiac. They like down to the nitty gritties. They like detail, practicality. They like routine, regiment, but they can get too stuck in that as well and not see the bigger picture. They often get stuck in the finer details. They're very analytical, which is really good for people that are in business or, accountants and things like that. Virgos make really good accountants and things like that, and things that you need attention to detail tend to get stuck in that, and they can get overly perfectionistic and overly critical, and can sometimes use that in controlling ways. So they just need to work on loosening up a bit, like I said before, just letting go a little bit and not being so hung up on having to have ultimate perfection. The next one is the cardinal air sign, and it is about balance. It's about finding justice, balance, the scales of justice. It's also about beauty and being the peacemaker. It's ruled by Venus, so that creative, and values and all that sort of stuff comes into play with the sign of Libra. Then we've got Scorpio. So Scorpio rules, Libra rules the 7th house. Scorpio rules the 8th house, and Scorpio is I desire. So they're very desirous. It's all about joint resources, whereas the second house, their opposite sign of Taurus, is all about personal resources. Scorpio is about forming partnerships and joint ventures with people. They're a water, very deep. Cancerians are, apart from when they're hiding in their shell, they're pretty much what you see is what you get. And also, to a certain degree, I think Pisceans are like that as well. But Scorpio seem to be a lot deeper. They can be quite secretive, and their emotions run very, very deep. They're sort of the deep water of the water signs. They're healers as well. They're very powerful healers, and they're very courageous as well. They're also co-ruled by Mars and Pluto, so they've got very, very powerful energy there when it comes to area type. So the next sign is Sagittarius. So their moniker is I Focus. They're ruled by Jupiter. So they're very focused, expansive. They see the bigger picture and they want to go for it. They want to reach higher and higher levels. So they rule the 9th house, which is about higher learning, philosophy, mindedness, foreign lands, culture, wanting to expand their awareness from their immediate environment. They want to go out and explore the world. So they love to move about and to travel. So that'd be quite extravagant, exaggerated, boastful, lacking focus. They're wanting to do so much. Sometimes they can lack focus if they're not disciplined. The next one is Capricorn, which rules the 10th house and the midheaven in the chart, which is the highest most point of the chart. Capricorn is
looks like Amanda froze again. Charlie, take it over.
Great information from Amanda.
Yeah.
And again, I would just add to it again that it is so important. This is the year 2021 is really the year for us to really dive in full to astrology, because astrology is God's teachings, is God's message for us, unfiltered, purely unfiltered in the night sky. So Amanda and Santos are going to be so valuable moving forward because they're astrologers that see and understand the whole picture, the whole story. There are astrologers that deny massive aspects of the truth, and your readings will be altered because they're, I think ultimately what a lot of astrologers have done is to fit in to the mainstream. They've altered their worldview, and like Santos teaches and Amanda absolutely knows, that when you astray from what astrology teaches, and astrology at its base teaches that the earth is stationary and many other things, then it's a problem. and the readings that you get are skewed. And that's the thing from Amanda and Santos, is that you're getting really, really, really authentic, pure. And that's what's really important. And again, I'll just say this, that the money that it does cost to be able, because it takes a lot of time, it takes a number of days for Santos and Amanda to be able to have your access to your base information and then do a complete chart to it, star chart to it. And the money that it costs to do that is just, when it's done with a correct, proper astrologer, is just the best money that you can possibly spend. You have no idea, because what someone like Santos and Amanda are doing is that they are literally showing you your God essence in that exact moment. And of course, we've changed. We are lumps of clay that society shapes and molds, and we have to get rid of that. We absolutely have to get rid of that. We have to go back to who we truly are. And these are absolute captures of your essence and your essential form, and your essential form from the perspective of God as the creator of you. So again, let me stress, you just cannot spend your money on something better than readings from Amanda and or Santos. They're just so good. So
thank you, Charlie. Really appreciate that. Amanda, can you hear us? So Amanda was telling me behind the scenes that she was having.
Yes.
Okay, Amanda, back to you. We were at Capricorn.
Oh, okay. I've had to take my earbuds out. I needed to plug my phone in because it was just about to die. Hello. Looks like you're frozen. I'm just wondering if you can hear me.
We can hear you. It's a little bit slow, but we can hear you. Let's quickly finish the Capricorn.
Okay. Yep. No worries. I just wanted to make sure you could hear me. Like I said, I had to take my earbuds out to plug my phone in. So they're the waters. They're ruled by the Earth. They're ruled by Saturn. They're an Earth sign. They're very hardworking. They're responsible. They can be seen as quite rigid. Out of the 3 Earth signs of Virgo, Capricorn, and I've lost my train of thought. Taurus.
Amanda, can you come a little bit closer to the phone? Because we can't hear you very well.
But the Capricorn pin their self-esteem and their work, their career. Yep. Sorry.
Hold your phone, maybe that'll be better for us.
I can just hold it here if you like.
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully you can hear me now. I'm quite cautious. They're very disciplined. Penny pinching and quite rigid. So they're needing to let go of that, as I said earlier when we were speaking about the energies of this month with regards to Venus. The Earth signs are really needing to let go of materialism for materialistic sake, but to harness the energies of acquisition for helping humanity. Say that we can't have use them and how we see them. And unfortunately, the Capricorns tend to see their self-worth by what they can acquire or what they can, you know, work and that. So they're needing to sort of be a little bit more flexible. And I think they're going to be, as I say, I think the energies are changing so much now that there's not going to be as much 9 to 5 anymore. So people did routines, they might be a little bit out of their comfort zones for a little while. So the next one is Aquarius.
Amanda, maybe if you have bad internet, could you please turn off your...
From the 21st of December last year, we've fully entered in.
Amanda, could you please turn off your video? Oh, looks like we've lost Amanda again. Charlie, back to you. I'm so glad you're here. And I apologize to everybody who's on here. I'm so sorry. Tech glitches happen, especially when we're doing a live show. But live shows are so much more fun because you guys are here. So what can we say, right, Charlie?
Yeah, well, and it's tough because, you know, it's to Australia, and so yeah, you never know what kind of connection you're going to get. So it is what it is. But yeah, so Amanda is making some wonderful observations, very general observations about the 12 houses, and they're very important. And remember, there are 4 houses that sit on what I call the ley lines, the cross of the zodiac. And of course, we start with Aries in the east, which is the arising, which is the beginning of the year, and then it's to Cancer and Cancerians, and that is the peak of the sun in the sky, June 22nd. So we're going from March 22nd to June 22nd, and then starts the fall of man to the fall, which is September 22nd, to the root or the base of our physiology, which again is Capricorn in December 22nd. So they're very pivotal signs. And again, it's just like the alphabet, it's just like the numbers. Everything with God's creation is so brilliant because they're in a certain order. They're in a very, very special order because they relate to everything that comes behind them, because they're all part of a story. And then they relate to everything that's coming after as well. So they're powerfully connected, just like our alphabet and all the letters in the alphabet and all of our numbers as well.
Thank you, Charlie. Amanda? Oops.
Hi, back again.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, my internet's so unstable here.
That's okay, Amanda. Let's go to Aquarius now.
I think. Oh, okay. So Aquarius is I know. So Aquarius, a fixed sign, and it's masculine. So it's about and philanthropy, like real philanthropy, not the philanthropy that the elite say that they do, but there and helping mankind and yeah, just group awareness and consciousness. It's about the higher mind. It's about mental attachment and getting into even higher than the mental realms. We're coming into sort of the last little bit of the chart here, just before we get to even higher levels of consciousness as we reach the end of the chart. The weaknesses of Aquarius are that they can be quite aloof and cold and detached. Sometimes they can have quite rigid ideas, even though they are ruled Uranus, which is about unorthodoxy and thinking outside the box, but it's also co-ruled by Saturn. There is that little bit of rigidity there if they're not thinking with or not using their higher faculties. Pisces. Pisces is pretty much a it's got sort of like every other energy of all the other previous zodiac signs within the sign of Pisces. So it's come to the end of the road, like whereas Aries is the birth, Pisces is the death. So the 12th house is about death and transformation. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter and in recent years Neptune. It's the mutable water sign. It's a feminine sign. Getting very creative, imaginative, creation, intuitive, sort of thinking on the deeper levels, getting away from the emotions, but getting into the intuitive side. Yes, it is an emotional sign, Pisces, like the other water signs are ruled by their emotions, but I think with Pisces, it's trying to rise above, get into their true intuition and their higher intuition that they can sacrifice. But they can be quite impressionable, and they can be very pessimistic, take on a little bit of energy of all the previous 11 signs. There's actually quite a lot of things that they're needing to transmute, and a lot of the negatives that they have collected throughout many lifetimes in other zodiac signs, they're needing to shed all that energy and to step into their true service to humanity rather than being self-serving. So that's pretty much a very, very basic overview of it. Is different. Everybody's natal chart is different because we're not just our sun that plays. Like a fingerprint, no two charts are the same. I've even done reading for, I've got a couple of family members that are twins.
Thank you, Amanda.
A few years ago, and I was the charts were so different.
Amanda, what we're going to do is we're going to come back and do this another time because we can't hear you very well right now. So I'm going to say thank you to you, Amanda, and thank you to Charlie as well.
Okay,
and guys,
and I had to take my, I'll see if I can plug them back in. Hang on a minute.
Yeah, and I want to just say thank you to everybody who's here as well for your patience and for dealing with our tech glitches. I'm so sorry, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna go live on Facebook with Charlie. So please join us there, and Amanda's gonna try to log in as well, and Charlie's gonna give his wisdom for 5 to 10 minutes. So it's gonna be very, very small. And then Charlie has another show with Justin and Shaban today. So please, guys, tune into that as well. And once again, I'm going to end the show here. And I'm going to go live on Facebook. So please hang in. And thank you so much for joining us. Amanda, stay here, Amanda. We're going to go quickly live on Facebook, okay? Thank you, guys. And we love you so much for being here. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Brilliantly Sexy with Devina Kaur. We value your time immensely and appreciate your shares, comments, and feedback. Devina Kaur is the best-selling author of Too Fat, Too Loud, Too Ambitious, a spiritual self-help workbook. Your purchases and donations support the Sexy Brilliant Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to removing toxic shame. Please discover our fantastic behind-the-scenes content on sexybrilliant.org.
Hey guys,